This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. As we continue to listen, learn, and grow, we are amplifying Black voices and perspectives in an effort to start a new COVID-19 vaccine conversation. We're sharing stories intended to help us navigate this unprecedented time together and to co-create solutions in support of the Black community. Hear these stories at weconsiderwa.org.
$20 million, $19 million, $6 million. These are all awards recovered for clients of Phillips Law Firm. To win big, you have to fight big. And Phillips Law has been fighting the too-big-to-fail insurance industry for decades. Not every case will have a multi-million-dollar outcome, but Phillips Law will fight just as hard to recover the outcome you deserve. If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident or on the job, call or click today at 1-800-JUSTICE or visit justiceforyou.com.
What's up? It's your boy, The Ted Smith. Thanks for listening to the Men's Room Daily Podcast. Want more? Check out the greatest podcast in all the land, The Podcast. Be sure to subscribe and listen to a brand new episode every Tuesday night.
Back to the conversation. This is the Men's Room with Miles and Thrill. 99.9 KISW.
Men are largely regarded as a gender who fart constantly, Steve, and stink up a room. But only one part of that statement is actually correct. A doctor has gone viral for promoting the little-known fact that women's farts sting more than men's. The doctor explained how in 1998 there was a study done that tried to clarify what was contained in flatulence and what the difference was between men and women. It was an actual study.
All right.
It revealed that while men fart more wind on average than women, it was the females that had a higher concentration of hydrogen sulfide. That is the ingredient that makes your fart stink. And ladies, unfortunately, you have more of that than men do.
Oh, you dirty bums.
Correct. The data collected during the study found the men have a sulfur concentration of 0.59 each fart.
Yeah, I've been saying that for years.
Where women have a recording of 1.77.
Whoa!
Almost triple the total volume in men's farts. However, the men's farts were larger as far as the quantity, but as far as the quality, so to speak, that would be the female dominant there. Flatulence was quantitatively collected via rectal tube from 16 healthy subjects who ingested pinto beans and lactose to enhance flatus output, according to the study. The concentrations of sulfur-containing gases in each passage were then correlated with odor intensity, assessed by two judges.
Oh, wow.
It was two people's jobs to literally smell people's farts.
Girl, you nasty.
And get some reading on them.
Says Judge One.
These 16 people selected in the study ranged in age from 18 to 47 years old, none in history of gastrointestinal disease or antibiotic ingestion during the preceding 3 months. But yes, they actually physically put a tube in these 16 people and then fed them pinto beans and then recorded them the next day.
And then smelled their farts.
That is correct. Our question, what was responsible for the smell? 206-421-ROCK.
Here's a nice one. It says, I was on a plane and a bird got sucked into one of the engines. Smelled like a combination of burning feathers and flesh for about 20 minutes.
Really?
Pretty unpleasant.
Okay. Do you guys smell, I don't know how often you're down near the airport, but on certain days, it smells like jet fuel. Like, sure, you might be close to Burien. And I'm like wondering, like, surely they don't dump jet fuel around that area because there's so many neighborhoods, right? That you wouldn't be dumping down in the SeaTac area. But you can really, I mean maybe
they dump fuel, but you're right. I think generally you try to do it over, I don't know. I don't think they do it over neighborhoods.
Freshwater estuaries is what I recommend. Yeah, someday. But to me, it's like the gas station. It's probably just them fueling planes and then inevitably.
Right.
But for whatever reason, our days
really
like,
concentrated.
Was there a plane crash?
Yeah. That was my favorite move one day, was driving down through the airport, and there was a plane coming in for a landing. And I was with my brother at the time. We were going down to Tacoma to hang out. He's like, wow, that plane's coming in really low. And I'm like, yeah, the messed up part about it is there's no airport over there. Then I waited till he drove up. He's like, you ass, there's an airport here. I'm like, no, just kidding, man.
Dude, what is the one, is it, I always forget, is it Newark? What's by the Meadowlands? I have driven down 95 on the East Coast leaving New York City, and it looks like the planes are going to land on 95.
I know which one you're talking about. I think it is Newark.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on 7.
It is. Yeah, it is scary.
But the old Denver airport, when I was a kid and we lived there 1,000 years ago, but part of the runway was an overpass on the highway. So you'd be driving into the airport, and this goddamn 747 just roars over your head. I mean, it's on the ground, but it's on a bridge over, and that just never, ever seemed okay to me.
I've only seen that at Chicago.
Really?
At O'Hare, you'll see them, like, whatever the main highway is that goes underneath that bridge, you'll see it.
Okay.
What was responsible for the smell? 206-421-ROCK.
Let's say hello to Cole. Hello, Cole. Welcome to the men's room.
Liquor and whores.
Liquor and whores.
All right, so I got another raccoon one for you guys. So I was chilling with my buddy at his place. And it's like a little tiny little house, like probably like 400 or 500 square feet. And we're drinking and getting hammered like we always are. And I start to notice, like, I've noticed it for a while, but like, I'm drunk, so I say something, and I'm like, dude, your house smells like S. And he's like, yeah, I don't know what it is, but it's there. And I'm like, well, let's find it. And we're drunk, so we're tearing his house apart and going through everything. And finally, I'm like, dude, what if it's in the walls? And he's like, yeah, it's in the walls. And so we take some hammers and pry bars, and we start tearing apart the walls. And we find 2 dead raccoons in the wall.
How many different holes did you put in the wall before you found the dead animals?
Oh, over 2 dozen for sure.
Oh, damn.
So you just kept, smelling the walls and taking a crowbar to them?
Yeah, pretty much.
Tell me he was going to re-drywall the place anyway.
Yeah, no, it was in the plan. It was in the plans for a while. That was just kind of an excuse to demo it.
Okay, yeah, that's the. Yeah.
How dead were these raccoons? Like, if you had to estimate how long they've been dead, what would you guess?
At least a month.
Okay.
I mean, they were you could pick them up, and they were basically like the slime that your kids make.
Yeah, that's
basically the consistency of what they were.
Okay. So,
what do you guys do? I mean, do you take a shovel and throw them outside, or what?
We just grabbed some gloves, grabbed them, threw them outside in a bag, and then tossed them outside, and proceeded to puke everywhere.
Did he get his house finally done?
Yeah, it's done now. The smell still kind of lingers a little bit, even after a professional cleaning. So I don't know. We might try and spice it up a little bit more and sell it.
Okay.
It might be that. Well, I mean, I don't know if I want to buy a house. If I'm like, I really like the house, but man, oh man, it just smelled like death.
Dead raccoon.
I think the worst smell I did myself was I boiled a bunch of chicken. That's a lie. My mother was in town. Mm-hmm. So, the day before she left, she was like, is there anything you want? I said, well, you make some of your chicken salad. So she boils a bunch of chicken, water, stock, whatever, and then she leaves that afternoon. I did not wash the pan. I leave town for a week in the middle of the summer.
You left town for a week?
Right, and when I get back in there, it was just like, what in the hell has died in here?
Right.
But yeah, I left town for a week to go to a festival and stay at some friend's house. When we got back in there, I was like, what is that? And I was like, oh, it's the chicken stock.
God, man.
Yeah, awful.
Yeah, bad chicken is real bad.
What was responsible for the smell? 206-421-ROCK.
Hello, Jeff. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola, bichola.
Hola.
I've been dying to say that. I love your guys' show. I listen to it all the time on the way home from work.
Hey, thank you, brother. We really appreciate that.
Nice. So this is a long time ago, probably 30 years ago. I'm 53 now. I was in my early 20s, and I was living in Green Bay, Wisconsin, which was, at the time, you could indulge your vices very cheaply. So anyway, I had gotten in a fight with a girlfriend. I got booted out, and I was staying at a homeless shelter that used to be like a turn of the century hotel. So it had a sink in the bedroom, but not a bathroom. Well, we weren't supposed to have women up there, but I had a girlfriend or a friend that was a girl, and we used to hook up. And then so this particular time, I hadn't seen her in a while. And I bumped into her, and I said, hey, you want to go, back to my room? So she's like, yeah, great. I just got done with my period, whatever. I'm like, cool. So I sneak her up there, and I went to go use the bathroom, and then whatever, we come back, we do our business, and then I noticed the next day there was a little bit of smell in the room, and I didn't think nothing of it. It's an old place. I thought maybe it was a pipe or something or whatever. So it got gradually worse, and then I got back from work about a week later, and I could not stand the smell anymore. I'm like, what the heck is that smell? So I traced it to underneath my bed, and I pulled it out, and it was a bloodied washcloth that my visitor had left. Yeah, so that was pretty nasty, but yeah, that was a very interesting place and time.
I'm sure it was.
Yeah, homeless shelter in Green Bay.
You're one of the few people who got laid in a homeless shelter, probably.
That is a fact.
Bringing someone in from the outside.
Yeah,
now, sure, if you're in there already and you're communal and you know everybody.
There's a lot of, internal trade, you would say. There's a lot of prostitutes there. There's a lot of drug dealers. I remember I had a lot of chicks that they knock on your door, right? If you went in, you open the door and they would all for basically to fillet you either for like $10 or a hit of crack. I'm like, I don't have either.
Can you
of
tell
those.
me that place is the one where you went in to take a shower and was the biggest turd you ever saw on the bottom of the shower stall?
Yeah, we had a toilet in the room, but you didn't have a sink, but there's like a big communal shower, it's like a gym, right? So it's just a massive shower and there's like 10 shower heads. All I wanted to do is take a shower. I've been sleeping outside for like about a week at this point, right? And it's not that you can smell yourself, but you know.
Everyone else can smell.
Right, everyone else can smell you. You feel like crap. So I'm all excited. I go in to take a shower. I mean, and this is the only thing on my mind, right? The room is garbage. The people around you are awful, but I'm like, I'm taking a shower. And I remember I grabbed this little ratty ass towel that they give you, and I walk into this room, and I'm so excited, man. And there's the drain in the center of the floor, and directly on top of the drain is the biggest pile of human S ever. And I felt so defeated in that moment. Like,
did you take a shower anyway?
No. And I debated it because it's not like you were going to touch it, right? The room itself, the shower was big enough based on where it was in the center that you could take a shower and not have to interact with it. But I can't bring myself to do this because one, there's just a giant pile of turds in the shower, and it's over the drain. So my fear was if the water doesn't,
it's going to be warm.
It's going to touch you.
You know what I mean, man? Yeah. So I'm just like, I probably went like another 3 weeks without bathing. Like that image is still burned into my mind. I cannot explain how much human poop it was. Like you've got to be kidding me, man. Crackheads, bro.
What was responsible for the smell? 206-421-ROCK.
Oh, but they're so friendly.
I mean, I don't know that for a fact, but I can't picture a prostitute dropping that much. Maybe she did too, but in my mind, it was a crackhead who left that.
Dude, I saw an interview with somebody like a few months ago, and they were talking about a bad area, whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, we can get you anything you want down here. And the guy's like, girls? Like, we can get you girls, if you don't mind dirty ones.
Like,
it's like,
I had a guy just say one
Damn
word to me
it.
yesterday walking in, and he looked at me and goes, cocaine? I was like, no, brother. It's 9:30
Good looking
in the morning. What was responsible for the smell? 206-421-ROCK.
not right now.
Yeah.
Hit me on my way afterward.
Right, exactly. Right. It's 9:30.
Friday,
He's looking at me-
6:03.
But he looked at me like it was what he said, like cocaine? I'm like, no, man.
You think he was selling or wanted something?
Yeah, definitely. It was right in front of the Bartell. I was like, Jesus Christ.
Well,
Not down here now.
oh, okay. Oh, the other one.
Yeah.
Sleeping bag.
Right.
Hello, Tim. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola, gentlemen.
Hola.
So back when I was living in Colorado, my mom came out to visit me once, and her job was to sell cheese, like in a really fancy restaurant. So she notices that there's a goat farm that makes this special cheese that she buys for her job. She's like, oh, let's go tour it. And I was like, okay. So we go up there, and it's kind of like a farm. And they show us the baby goats and the little building where they make the cheese and all that. And then they take us, it's breeding time. So they take us over to the adult sheep. And there is a pen with about 8 or 9 males. And all they're doing is pissing on themselves for the scent for the females. And it is one of the most raunchiest smells. I've never thrown up or gagged on scents. But that came close. And then they take us over to the pen where all the females are, and there's one stud in there living life, basically. And all the females are literally just lined up, peeing, and he's walking down the line, just licking it. And I'm just like, oh.
How's the cheese, though? I mean, all things
Did you even want to eat the cheese
Did you
after
taste
that?
the cheese?
That's just it. I because my mom's job, I've tried so many cheeses, and I really liked them. And then at the end of the tour, they let you, here's our cheese, let's try it. And I still, to this day, I cannot smell even goat cheese.
I was going to say, it's on the menu. That's the first thing that comes to your mind, right?
There's a goat peeing on himself because that turns the lady goats on. They're into some kinky stuff. I did not know that.
Goat cheese is great, too.
It's okay.
I like it.
I like it.
I'm a fan.
I'm not a huge soft cheese guy, but that's pretty good.
Yeah, it is good. I just want, again, you don't want to see how the sausage is made. That's all.
Exactly.
Did you know the
If it's
goat's
on your
Pete?
plate and I'm sitting with you guys, I'll want to leave and walk away.
It's that bad for you. Is it just the reminder of the smell of the peeing goat?
Yeah, like the pen, which is so nasty. They would actually, their genitalia, I guess, was gifted enough to where they were like hosing themselves down. It was,
I mean, look, and as much as we're all making disgusted faces about this, if some hot chick is like, you know what, I want to sleep with you, but I got this weird thing. I want you to cover yourself with your pee. I'm peeing on myself. Mm-hmm. It's just that easy.
Well, there's a whole category for that.
There really is.
There is.
Well, I think, too, like farms in general don't smell the best.
They don't. Man, one thing I always forget, right? And it makes sense. You say farms, the other place, the zoo, right? So I hadn't been to the zoo in like 20 years. Then you have kids. Kids want to go to the zoo. And I'm like, you know what? That's a fantastic idea. I haven't been to the zoo in forever. It's Woodland Park, and there's nothing wrong with Woodland Park Zoo. It just smells like a zoo.
Smelled worse when the elephants were there.
I forget how bad they smell because it's just animal crap everywhere. But of all the animals, man, and you can walk around, there's always that whiff of poo, no matter what animal you're looking at. But there's something about gorillas, bro. I don't understand what happens on their berry diet. But when a gorilla lays it down, I mean, you're there with elephants, you are there with giraffes, you have lions, you have polar bears. Gorillas outdo them all. Gorillas are like your grandfather reading the paper on the toilet. You know it's going to be bad.
Probably about 8-9 years ago, I built these beds for my backyard, right? And I'm going to make some kick-ass tomatoes.
Sure.
There was one day at Woodland Park Zoo where you could go up there and you could get elephant crap.
Yeah. So
you could go up and get, a couple bags of it or whatever. So I got those big industrial strength long bags, the ones that you could probably put in like stuff from a construction site, the really heavy duty ones, and basically just tied it off.
You went and got elephant poop?
For my tomatoes, yeah.
Okay.
But you have no idea, man, when you put that bag in your car, you got to get that thing home.
All right.
And I mean, it is overwhelming. I had all the windows rolled down. It was and just to pour it out of the bag and mix it with the soil, it took days. Like when people put mulch down, it's kind of got that vinegary smell to it. It's not the same smell. It's just the fact that smell lingers for a week or so. This stuff smelled absolutely horrible. The tomatoes were huge. They were incredible.
Give us more of that elephant
They
poop.
were the tastiest, juiciest, biggest tomatoes you could ever eat, man. And it was all because of elephant poop.
Huh.
It was fantastic. You just didn't want to deal with the smell when you worked with it.
Well,
you
yeah,
want to
because
put
that's
your
elephant
hands
poop.
and mix the soil, you know what I mean? Like, God. It's unbelievable. What was responsible for the smell? 206-421-ROCK.
That seems weird. I mean, I get how fertilizer works, but I don't know if I want to know that your tomatoes are so great because of elephant poo.
Didn't they ship those two elephants down to, or maybe just one down to Oklahoma City, and they killed them?
Yeah.
Those bastards. They took our basketball team and they killed our elephants.
That's our problem with Oklahoma
Jesus
City.
Christ. What was responsible for the smell? 206-421-ROCK.
Team stealing, elephant killing,
Seriously,
sons
man.
of bitches.
I mean, goddamn, like one more thing to do to somebody. Like, we're going to take your basketball team and kill your elephants, okay? That's the deal we're making. We're giving you nothing in return, by the way.
Right.
Thanks, Oklahoma City.
I don't know what Oklahoma City's known for.
I mean, energy companies for the most part.
Probably. Right, thunder? Like,
you think Clay Bennett was an energy guy? All those guys, the guy who drove. And
I guess, like, you think barbecue, you think Texas,
Sure.
like other cities, like Oklahoma. What do you guys pimping besides some college football?
Theft.
Mm-hmm. Theft of elephants.
From my point of view, yeah.
They gave us, what's his name? He played for the Seahawks a little
Brian
bit.
Bosworth?
Bosworth.
Oh, yay. Now he's doing Dr. Pepper ads.
They gave the Cowboys the Super Bowl.
Hello, Joe. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola.
Hola.
So I'm a plumber by trade, so I've dealt with a lot of smells. But the worst one I ever dealt with is I got a call to go out to a dentist office because their pump system wasn't working. So I get out there and this thing's overflowing. It's the pump that they use to suck your teeth out when they're spraying your teeth down.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and so the guy who had installed it, there was a shutoff on the drain on the side of it that he had not turned open. So
I open this sucker up, and it starts draining out into this floor drain, and it literally smelled like Listerine and dead bodies. It was terrible. It was the worst smell I've ever smelled.
Really? So you're telling me people's mouth smells are worse than their ass?
Everything I've dealt with, grease interceptor, sewage, any of that was the absolute worst.
Oh,
it was so bad.
How much is that?
What was that?
How much is there? I mean, is it gallons of the stuff?
It was probably about 5 gallons over a year time because it was closed off for a whole year.
What color is it by the time you start draining it?
Well, I mean, it still kind of looked like Listerine, so I mean, it looked blue.
Have you ever seen?
That was all right, but you could literally hear. I know they have traps to catch some of the sediment that comes out of your mouth, but you could hear pieces of teeth chattering down the drain as it was draining out.
Well, that's the other problem is like the surgeries and stuff, right? So even if you have good, clean teeth, like, you know, when they take out a tooth, like, you're dealing with nerves and weird stuff. And
bacteria.
It's not good.
You ever seen a fatberg, man, in all your years doing your job?
What was that?
You ever seen a fatberg in all your years doing your job, like in a pipe? That just basically, I'm just reading about all these.
England has a problem.
Where there's these fat globules, that just like they have to move through the sewage unit. The sewage,
right? It's this human stuff. Whether it's poop, whether it's skin pieces, but it all congeals together. But it's in London in particular, there's like a serious problem.
And the smell is unbelievable.
It's blocking their pipes, right? Then you go in there and chip this stuff away, and it's. I mean, have you ever experienced one of these?
I've never dealt with that. That sounds terrible.
What's the craziest thing you have seen in a drain pipe?
I actually recently had to repipe a drain system for a Mexican restaurant. And the thing was so rotted out, and it had all these mealworms that were growing in and, like, eating the sewage. It looked like, I had an apprentice with me at the time. It looked like the old Doom video game. It was all, like, red tinted, and it had all these, like, crawly things coming through the drain. It was pretty interesting to camera that one and see that. It was a weird one. But again, the smell definitely goes to the dentist office. I almost, it was so bad I could see my vision kind of blacking out, because the smell was about to make me pass out from it. I had to leave the whole office. I told them, I shut the door. I was like, don't open that door. I'll be back in like 10 minutes.
What was responsible for the smell? 206-421-ROCK. You are listening to The Men's Room.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. As we continue to listen, learn, and grow, we are amplifying Black voices and perspectives in an effort to start a new COVID-19 vaccine conversation. We're sharing stories intended to help us navigate this unprecedented time together and to co-create solutions in support of the Black community. Hear these stories at weconsiderwa.org.
$20 million, $19 million, $6 million. These are all awards recovered for clients of Phillips Law Firm. To win big, you have to fight big. And Phillips Law has been fighting the too-big-to-fail insurance industry for decades. Not every case will have a multi-million-dollar outcome, but Phillips Law will fight just as hard to recover the outcome you deserve. If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident or on the job, call or click today at 1-800-JUSTICE or visit justiceforyou.com.
Geico asks, how would you love a chance to save some money on insurance? Of course you would. And when it comes to great rates on insurance, Geico can help. Like with insurance for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, and RV. Even help with homeowners or renters coverage. Plus, add an easy-to-use mobile app, available 24-hour roadside assistance, and more, and Geico is an easy choice. Switch today and see all the ways you could save. It's easy. Simply go to geico.com or contact your local agent today.
The Men's Room is in progress. 99.9 KISW and KISW HD1 Seattle.
Joni Thompson, who is 50, entered a wellness guru online quiz to see if she could win some wonderful prizes, and she did.
All right.
She got a vagina-scented candle from Gwyneth Paltrow's Goop website.
That's for the winner.
Jody was taken by surprise after lighting it when a flame leapt from the candle, and out of the glass jar, the candle exploded and emitted huge flames with bits flying everywhere. I've never seen anything like it. The whole thing was ablaze. It was too hot to touch. There was an inferno in the room.
She would have known that if she'd ever lit Gwyneth Paltrow's vagina on fire.
It could have burned the place down. It was scary at the time, but funny looking back that the scent has now been used for a roll-on deodorant as well. But for a few hours there, yes, the entire place smelled like the vagina-scented candle from Gwyneth Paltrow. which exploded. Her boyfriend was able to pick it up and safely throw it out of their flat. Our question, what was responsible for the smell? 206-421-ROCK.
Hello, Denise. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola.
Hola.
Okay, so I have this uncle that has property over in Winthrop.
All right.
And it was probably like 10, 20 years ago. I don't even remember. It was Memorial Day weekend. The whole family goes over there. People show up Friday night, for the weekend. And his campfire pit's right on the river. But it smelled so bad. So the next day it's light out. We go out. We still can't figure out what the smell is. I mean, we knew something had died, but we couldn't figure out what. And the river was still pretty high. You couldn't cross it yet because it was only May. Well, we finally saw across the river, there was no property across the river. It was just woods. And there was a deer that had died and was bloated and stuck in, like, branches and trees. It was so bad. So, we're all drinking, of course. And a couple hours later, we couldn't even sit by the fire. So, a couple of my uncles decide that they're going to go take care of it. So they have to drive into town and up the other side of the river. And it probably took them 40 minutes before we saw them because they had to figure out what road to come down and cut through someone's property to get to the other side of the river. So they finally do, and they get out there, and they're poking it with a stick, trying to get it to float down the river to somebody else's property. And it probably took them like 20 minutes, and we're on the other side, cheering them on. And they finally break it loose, and we watch it float down the river around the corner to somebody else's property. And, oh, yeah, it was freaking awesome.
Yeah, you deal with it.
I would have been worried that thing would explode on me.
Well, that's what we were thinking. That's why, most of us stayed back. We're like, we'll let them take care of it. That would have been no good.
Were you deep down kind of hoping it would explode on them?
A little bit.
Yeah.
It's referred to as the Blair Deer Project, we call it. So when the family refers back to it. So.
Yeah, once an animal's bloated, I'm not messing with this thing. If it blows up, man, it's all. One guy here even comments, worst smell, he had dead walrus all over him. That's all.
Dead walrus.
I can only assume, based on what he said, either the walrus died on top of him or the thing exploded and he ended up getting covered. Someone else here, Miles, you were talking about your cat peeing in the bed. Mm-hmm. Someone says, I have a smell for you. I had a cat that would like to piss us off, and it would pee in our toaster all the time. You go to make your toast in the morning, and it was the worst smell that I will never forget in my life. Absolutely disgusting. And we went through a lot of toasters.
He knew what he was doing.
Oh, yeah, that's real specific, man.
God, that's evil of that cat.
What was responsible for the smell? 206-421-ROCK.
Was it a mean cat, or was it more of a funny cat? Because it's not my cat, I think it's funny.
My cat was mean. I can tell you that right now.
Well, no, it got peeing in your bed.
Yeah, but if you have to, sometimes you got to discipline your animals.
Sure.
Oftentimes.
Yeah.
And then his reaction is to pee in your toaster.
Look, man.
That's not even just peeing on your couch.
I just got a new mattress about a month ago. So I have a plastic cover on the thing or whatever after he started peeing on the bed. But anyway, they're coming to get they're going to take the old mattress away. So I'm just getting rid of all this stuff. I got old pads, been on there for like 5-6 years. It needs to go. Sure. I'm gonna get new stuff. I got a new mattress. I'm gonna get a new pad on top. The whole deal. So I take the zipper off. These guys are in the house because they're gonna take the old one out. And I realize there's like 4 pee stains on this mattress. At least 3 of them from my cat, or maybe 4, maybe 1 from a dog, and my dad, who put the biggest one in the middle of my bed. And I realized for years I've been sleeping on like 4 different individuals' urine. You know what I mean?
These guys think you peed the bed?
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, how do you pass that off? Like, no.
It's my cat.
Wasn't me, man. What cat? You don't have a cat.
I have
here.
a cat.
There's no cat in the.
That's my father.
It was my dad. Well, your dad lives in Florida. What was responsible for the smell? 206-421-ROCK.
You should have just been that guy. Yeah, I peed on it.
I don't care.
So I got a new mattress.
Yeah.
Can't stop peeing.
You'll be back in 3 months.
Hello, Christian. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola. All right. So I used to inspect at the auctions here in Seattle and occasionally go across the nation. Well, one auction in particular will get these vehicles that were, seized by law enforcement. A couple of them every once in a while we would get suicide vehicles. So we would come across, random, bits of whatever was their last meal and whatnot.
One in particular, though, just so happened my luck would be summer. We open the doors, we break the tape, for the crime scene investigation crap and all this. And it's just immediately I started puking. People that were 30 feet away started puking. It was horrendous. So went over to the body shop, grabbed some gas masks, and we're searching because we're trying to figure out what's going on here. Well, aside from finding heroin needles, we started finding brain matter.
Oh, God.
So apparently this happens every once in a while, from what I gathered. So it's up to us to just go and handle through it. But yeah, I found pieces of skull, bone, some gray matter. It was, I probably smoked 2 cigars just to try and get that smell out of my nose. But I burned my clothes. It was
how much
wretched.
What kind of car was it?
It was like an old Ford T-Bird, like a 96.
All right. Well, at that time, that was kind of a hard to get car.
Mm-hmm.
That was when they first came back out, right? That's a 2-door, correct? With a circular little window in the back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
the one they featured in James Bond.
Yeah. So that car probably still holds its value pretty well. Did they try to clean that car up and sell it?
So it ended up going through the auction. They, I guess, have a detail crew that comes in after we inspect the vehicle for damage and whatnot. But I mean, I don't think you can get that smell out of a car.
I was gonna say, could you, like, when you said this brain matter, I mean, did you look at this and go, that is brain matter? I mean, was it that easily identifiable?
Yeah, it's just because, I mean, there's no real organ that just is shaped like that.
Right. Did you... my question is this, being that you are in the auctioning business, is there a thing where they rip out all the carpets, they rip out all the seats, and they just put new ones in, and maybe that gets rid of the smell?
You're supposed to do an enzyme chemical treatment. You're dealing with biohazards. So, but considering this was auction, it's, going through the police, so the money's just going to go directly.
Right. I'm just wondering what kind of deal somebody got on that.
I mean, hopefully a really good one.
Yeah.
Right?
And it wasn't a good time, but yeah, it's a pretty extensive process if you're going to do the actual cleaning, right?
I don't even want to clean my own car. And it's pretty neat.
And it's Cheerios of mine. I mean, it's not brain matter. Now, Mike, you do the auto auctions. Have you ever, do you even review the cars? Because you know the ones you're going to be auctioning off. Right. Do you review them yourself? I mean, just in case it's like, hey, man, this car smells like a dead body.
Usually the dealer will. We've had back when I worked in the detail shop, we did have a couple accidents that came through, and then that one, yes, did require an actual hazmat crew that came in. It was just our crew that was able to take care of these biohazard cars. Somebody got into an accident, they banged their head on the side of the window, and they got blood all over the place. It's not good. It's not terrible.
Right.
There's a few droplets of blood, but it's technically a bio. I fortunately did not work at any of the insurance auctions where the really, really bad accidents, but I have heard some horror stories. One where, a guardrail came through the side of the car and they pulled the top half of the gentleman out, but they left the bottom half in there for the auction crew to clean out of there.
Are you kidding?
No, not at all. There was another one that I heard.
So they get a car and like from the waist down, there's what's left of a human.
Yes. There was also one that I heard where a man decided to check out early in the passenger seat of one of his cars, and they found him about 3 weeks later in the hot sun. Yeah, he was basically a puddle on that seat.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And they're like, sell it at auction.
Well, the thing is that
spit out $200.
That's basically what it was.
Hey, look at this, man. Just think of it this way. You're in the HOV lane already. Okay.
Exactly. Basically,
he's not coming out.
They're selling it to get crushed because usually there's some sort of a damage to it. There's that scent that is never going to go away. The best used car salesman cannot sell this thing.
Hell no.
Because it's got that terrible scent. It's going to get crushed.
Yeah, it smells like man puddle.
That's right.
You ever had one that was just too cool of a car that people were still like, we don't care, it has dead person smell?
Thank God I never was faced with that option. No, usually the good cars were drug seizures.
Oh, yeah, man. Those guys,
they found most of the drugs.
This thing has a kick and bass system.
That's all you know.
It's not standard, I don't believe. Not just stock. What was responsible for the smell? 206-421-ROCK.
Hello, Tom. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola.
Hola.
Hey, love you guys' show.
Oh, thank you, man.
So, real quick, we had just gotten married, just moved in together. and we decided to go grocery shopping. So we went up to the grocery store. We were partying the night before because we just moved into a new place. And so we're at the meat department, and I'm going, well, maybe we should get some chicken. So I'm picking up the chicken, and I'm looking at, different chicken, and this god-awful smell comes from I don't know where. And so I'm smelling the chicken, and I'm going, God, this chicken smells rotten. And I turn, my wife's standing in the front of the shopping cart, beet red, with her finger to her mouth going, shh. And she had just laid a bomb out.
This is your brand new wife.
And well, we went out for 6 years, but
okay,
before we got married, but it was, and I turned and looked, and she knows me, and I just turned and looked, and I go, was that you? He took off running down the aisle. That was funny. It was good.
Yeah, it's
I know it's always the shh. That's a
terrible grocery store when you walk into it. Because now they've got it so you've got to go the same way as everybody.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like, you know what I mean? You're just kind of following. I was pretty sure I got that in the Safeway the other day. I was like, oh, man.
Oh, the person for crop dusting?
Yeah. I was like,
I mean, I fart in the elevator here all the time.
I had a pretty good idea who it was, too. I kept looking at her like, it's you, isn't it? We stop.
If she doesn't make any eye contact with anyone, it's her.
Yeah, they got rid of the one-way lanes in my store. I liked it. Made me more efficient.
Yeah, because you're just zipping back and forth. You know what I mean?
But with that said, it's kind of nice. And I would get salty. I wouldn't say nothing to people, but like...
You're going the wrong way.
Right, like you got to go down, turn around, make a U-turn.
Come on.
Come on.
Right?
There's arrows on the floor.
Right, if you wanted cheese, you should have thought about that.
When you passed the cheese. What was responsible for the smell? 206-421-ROCK. It's like an IKEA now. Give the program.
The good old days.
You can't go where you want to go. You got to go where they say.
Follow the arrow.
I had a whole system, man. I'm shooting up 2, back down 5, swinging around, coming through 1.
Oh, well-oiled machine. Hello, Andy. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola, bichola.
Hola.
All right, guys. So here's the deal. When I was a kid, I worked on a horse ranch. We raised a few other things, too, including llamas. And so one year I was old enough. I was starting to help out more with the animals, the llamas in particular. It was spring. It was birthing season. So we were out there. One of the llamas is having a little bit of trouble giving birth. So we have to go and kind of assist, if you will. And I don't know if you guys have any experience with llamas, but they spit. And that spit smells so bad.
Are you trying to tell me the llamas don't brush their teeth?
Yeah, for sure. But, that spit smells so bad, and it's a defense mechanism. They try to get people away, or people or predators or whatever, away from them by spitting at them. And that mama llama, who was having a hard time, just started spitting at us, just covering us with spit. And then we got the baby out, and everything else that comes out afterwards, along with all of those smells, man, that was one of the worst smelling days of my life. Definitely made me aware that I did not want to continue ranching for a life.
Is it possible for one man to befriend a llama where he won't spit in your face and is just nice to you? You know what I'm saying? Or does that just not happen?
Oh, well, no. I mean, they're definitely they're definitely cordial animals. Like,
sounds like it.
Trained, and once they know you, unless they're threatened or in pain, they don't spit, and they can be lovely pets or lovely pack animals. They're great.
But how long does it take a llama to get to know me? Like, how many days before it finally stops spitting on me?
6 days?
Right.
How many?
I don't know. Usually it was we would start training them and handling them when they were about 6 months old, and then usually by yearling they were pretty good.
What is the general purpose of a llama? Is it just for their wool or whatever they've got?
Their wool is pretty popular, but we mainly raised them as pack animals because we did. My aunt and uncle ran a hunting camp where they would take people back in the backwoods by horseback. So llamas are very strong and very sure-footed, so they were great pack animals.
So you just load them up with gear and send them on the way?
Yep, load them up with gear, and then if you get a deer or whatever, you can throw the carcass over the back of the llama and send them back through.
I bet you the llamas love that part. Like, comes this heavy-ass deadweight deer on my
to
back.
be honest with you, man, that's more, I don't know. I salute you more than having somebody who takes a freaking four-wheeler out there and drives the thing back and takes a shot at any direction because he knows, like, I'm driving it back. I would have
never known that. I know we have a family friend who does what his aunt and uncle does. It takes people, usually Montana, right? But they all go horseback and they're gone forever long. That's where Pokey the mule comes in. All right. Right? So that's where I met Pokey. And Pokey's cool, but I understood, and my understanding is that a lot of people that do that, there's always a donkey or a mule. I just never heard a llama.
Yeah, llama. You know? I get them confused sometimes with an alpaca.
Sure.
Well, alpacas are nicer.
But I have alpaca socks, and I love them. That's what I was like,
their fur is phenomenal.
What do you use them? Like, what do you use, the llama for? Is it the same thing? Because they look pretty close to the same thing.
They do look close. My understanding is that llamas are much meaner, and they just kind of got cool.
That's the difference.
Well, they're good pack animals and stuff, but like a lot of people say they love llamas, and it's like, I think you mean alpacas.
You should start correcting people.
Ryan Castle is. He's going to join us from his basement dungeon studio bar. Once again, we will sit and spin, and today we celebrate the choir with 10 songs that include a choir. You are listening to The Men's Room.